Coming up next on City Hall today is a meeting of the New York City Council Committee on Governmental Operations. Chaired by Mayor Pinkett, the committee considers amending the New York City Charter in relation to the depositing of city funds in banks doing business in the Sudan. This public forum takes place in the council chambers at City Hall.
We await with great interest, of course, your testimony. Human rights organizations have documented that Sudan has forbidden people from practicing their faith and even subjected them to inhumane treatment based upon their religion. Today is this committee's first hearing on legislation setting forth a municipal policy restricting the city's business with banks and companies doing business in Sudan. The bill sets forth the following restrictions. Intro number 555 mandates that city funds not be deposited in banks or trust companies which provide the following services either directly or through a subsidiary or agent to the government of Sudan. Advertising or otherwise promoting the sale outside of Sudan of coins minted in Sudan. Underwriting the securities of the government of Sudan, making loans to the government of Sudan. Additionally, the Commissioner of Finance shall by rule establish criteria by which to evaluate whether banks are using the means at their disposal to comply with the embargo on trade and financial transactions with Sudan and any other sanctions imposed by the United States government with regards to Sudan. Banks shall then be classified in accordance with this criteria, and when choosing among banks offering comparable services at a comparable cost, city agencies shall seek to deposit or invest funds at and obtain services from the available banks that have received the highest classification. Intro number 555 provides that no bank shall be denied designation because of any action taken prior to the effective date of this local law. Intro number 555 and city contracts. This bill mandates that no city agency contracts for the supply of goods, services, or constructions with any person who does not agree to stipulate to the following as material conditions of the contract if there is another person who will contract to supply goods, services, or construction of comparable quality, goods, services, or construction of comparable quality at a comparable price. 1, the contractor and its affiliates shall not, during the term of a contract, sell or agree to sell goods or services to Sudan. The government of Sudan or any entity owned or controlled by the government of Sudan. 2, none of the goods in a contract to supply goods originated in Sudan. 3, the contractor and its affiliates do not do business in Sudan or are actively engaged in the withdrawal of their operations from Sudan and will have completed such withdrawal in 6 months, and the contractor and its affiliates shall not make new investments in Sudan. Intro number 555 exempts companies from the provisions of this local law who provide certain medical supplies only to Sudan. The mayor shall designate an agency or agencies to collect information concerning entities doing business in Sudan and to maintain records of contractors which have or have not agreed to the conditions of the legislation. In October of each year, such agency or agencies shall submit a report to the mayor and the council, setting forth information concerning contractors that have or have not agreed to the terms of the legislation during the previous fiscal year. The mayor shall also designate an agency to collect information concerning whether entities withdrawing from Sudan have given or agreed to give advance notification to their Sudanese employees and representative trade unions of the planned termination of investment not less than 6 months prior to the planned to such termination and have engaged or agreed to engage in good faith negotiations with such representative unions or organizations regarding the terms of such termination. In October of each year, the agency shall submit a report to the mayor and council containing such information. Before we have our first witness, I will call on the Speaker of the Council, the Honorable Peter F. Vallone, for his remarks.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to thank the many witnesses who have appeared today and the people that are sitting in the audience and my colleagues, Council members Savini and Carry-On, and others will be joining us as the day goes on. People are asking me the same questions that they asked prior on other occasions. What business does New York City have getting involved in politics in a country halfway across the world? The same people asked the same question when New York City divested from South Africa 3 years before the federal government helping to liberate that country from the chains of apartheid. What business does the city of New York have getting involved in foreign policy? Ask the thousands of Holocaust survivors and their families who have turned to us for help in recovering money stolen by the Nazis and held in Swiss banks. First hearing on that was right here in City Hall. No, the New York City Council is not the United Nations. We can take a stand against injustice, and we can indeed effect change. The situation in Sudan is deplorable. There are no human rights in the Sudan. There is no religious freedom. There is nothing similar to the fight that's going on right now in the city of New York, where we fight, many of us, to allow people to disagree, to allow people to show things that offend our own religions. Under our freedom, freedom calls for allowing people to disagree, even if you don't agree with what they say or what they paint or the books that they write. That's the principles upon which this country is formed. There's oppression, persecution, murder, rape, and forced conversion in the Sudan. So what can the City Council do? We can, as we have before, take a stand against injustice and say that if you're not going to do business, if you are going to do business with an outlaw terrorist nation that still practices slavery, among other things, you're not going to do business with the City of New York. That's the most we can do from the City of New York. But there's a lot more that others can do and that this nation can do. So that being said, go back to Madam Chair, who's been very gracious in these hearings and who has presided over all of the things that I have just mentioned in my very brief statement. Madam Chair?
First, let me just say that if you wish to offer testimony, you will have to have an appearance card. So if you have not done so and you wish to testify, there's a sergeant at arms, and would you please raise your hand so that Okay? And there you will go in order to make known your desire to testify. We want you also to be aware that we want to hear each of you, as many as we can, and we want you to know that we are not the scribes who wrote the Holy Writ, and we do not want to have the 77 books of the Bible today. We only want to have enough of the testimony so that as many witnesses possible can be heard, and we can proceed. This will be the first hearing. There will be others, so save some. Send us, if you must, additional testimonies or anything that you cannot include. At this time, you can submit a statement or additions in writing, but we would like to get to the gist of your testimony. We want this to be a meaningful hearing, but we'd like to have as many people heard as possible. Our first witness will be Edwin Cornwall. Please sit there. And please identify yourself by name, title, and organization.
Okay. Okay.